All right, guys, we're going to start using square roots, okay? Which is why when we worked on something else that had some square roots with that factoring, I asked you to make sure you write the perfect squares down because it'll make it a little bit easier. And as you see on my little card, I went all the way to 17, okay? So if you haven't written these down, pause this, write them down. It'll make your life easier if you just have your little card or a little piece of paper, something to kind of work from, okay? All right. Because what we're going to be looking with is, as you guys see now, I've got an equal sign. Okay, so I've got x squared is equal to 81. Now, the way to get rid of a square or the power of 2 is to square root it, because they're opposite of each other if you think about it. Okay, so what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to square root this, and then I'm going to square root this. Okay, because you got to do it to both sides if you're going to do it, okay? So now I'm going to be left with this x. Okay, because think about it. There's two x's here. When you square root it, you pull out you pull out a pair, so it's out. So there's x. Okay, so then I've got 81. So then if you guys use your card, you can look and see, well, this has got to be a perfect square root. All right, there's 81, so it's a 9. Now, the one thing I do not have on our card yet, okay, because we know 9 will do that also. So 9 times 9 is 81. But what else is going to make 81 when it's perfect square like this? Well, what's a negative times a negative? A positive, right? So this x could possibly be not just a 9, but it also could be a negative 9. Okay? Because either way, 9 times 9 is 81. And negative 9 times negative 9 is also 81. Okay? So when you guys are pulling them out this way, you got to pull them out as a positive and a negative because you don't know which is which or which one was actually used to get that answer. Okay? So let's take a look. All right? So now we have a squared. Once again, square, square. Now what's really weird is finding the square root of 1. Well, what is 1 times 1? It's 1. So in this one, a is going to be equal to that 1, but also don't forget it's going to be negative 1. So that might be one you want to add to your card, is put the square root of 1 is a 1. And what you could also do on this is start adding your negatives. Okay? But that's up to you. I might do it just as a reminder, and I probably will do that on mine later. Okay? All right. Now let's look. I have n squared, so I know I'm going to square this side. I'm going to square this side. Okay. There's a couple ways to do this. We're going to do it one way right now. Okay. If we look on the card, I'm looking for 28 in the square root. 28's not there, but it's between 25 and 36. So somewhere between 5 and 6 this is. Okay, so of course it's going to be a decimal. Okay, so you're going to use your calculator, guys. And what you'll do, depending on your calculator, okay, sometimes you got to put the square root button in first and then the number. Or sometimes you put in the number and then hit the square root. Okay, if you're not sure, we could play around with it and we'll figure it out. Okay, in this case, though, I've already put it in my calculator and I don't want to show it on mine simply because it might not be the calculator you're using. Okay, so n is equal to, on my calculator, it came out to be 5.292. And like I said, I noticed it was going to be between 5 and 6. Okay, it says it's 28. I'm sure it was going to be closer to that 28. Okay, now remember up here we said one was positive, one was negative. So the same thing. One is going to be positive and the other one would be the negative 5.292. Okay, so just put it in your calculator as positive and know one's positive, one's negative when you work with these. Okay, same thing here. Let's go ahead. We know we got to square it. I'm going to look at my card for square root of 73. Of course, I'm not seeing it, but I notice it's between 64 and 81, so somewhere between 8 and 9. So it's going to be 8 point something because it's not going to get to the 9. Okay, so put it in my calculator. And I get that the x is equal to 8 9.544. Yeah, I'm going to ask you guys to go 3 numbers out, so make sure you round this back here, okay, if it needs to be. If you're unsure of rounding, please ask. Once again, I know one's positive, the other one to be negative, and it'll be the same number. Okay, so no reason to mess with positive negatives in that calculator. It'll just mess you up. All right, so let's take a look here. All right, I have another one here. I have 6a, negative 6a squared equals 510. Okay, so I have multiple steps. I got to get this a squared, whoops, sorry about that, by itself. Okay, so to do that, I need to do the opposite of what's happening there. So what is happening there between the a and the 6? It's multiplication, correct? So with that, then what I'm going to do is I am going to divide this by the negative 6. So negative 6, negative 6. So then the a is on its own. Now negative 510 divided by a negative 6 will give us 85. And it'll be positive because it's a negative divided by a negative. So it's 85. Okay, so once again, square root. Gonna look, see if we got lucky in 85. No. 81 to 100, so it's gonna be 9.2 something. Or 9 point something. I don't know why I said 2, so put it in the calculator. Okay, so a is equal to, I got a 9.22. Sorry about that. And then, of course, I'm going to make one negative, so negative 9.22. Okay? You're also going to run into some where you have to do it like this. Okay, still multiple steps. But instead, because we want the p squared on its own, so we can do this square root, okay? So what we're going to do here is we are going to minus 8, p squared, 7, 6, is that a 4? That's a 4. Oh, and the nice thing here, it's going to be a perfect square root. It's going to be 8. So I'm going to square root. So p is equal to an 8 or a negative 8. We don't know which, okay? Oops, sorry about that. All right. So sometimes they're going to come out as a whole number. Sometimes they're going to come out as a decimal, guys. Okay. There is another way that we could do those, but we're not going to look at those until a little bit later. All right. Any questions on the assignment, please ask.